It's stream now.
Streaming?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Tyagi साहब शुरू करें क्या?
Okay, sir, just a minute. Ravi, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Mohan Kumar Das, Joint Secretary of SAMA and Executive Director of NOAMI, Bangladesh.
And I'm Dr. Rohini Bawar, PCT member, Assistant Professor, Savitribai Phule Puri University.
A good afternoon, distinguished guest, esteemed speaker, and dear colleagues. On behalf of the South Asian Meteorological Association, SAMA, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all our 5th Foundation Day celebration. Over the years, SAMA has made remarkable strides in advancing meteorological research and collaboration in South Asia. Today, we come together to celebrate our achievements, recognize our champions, and look forward to future endeavors. Let us begin our program with a warm welcome address by our esteemed President, Air Vice Marshal, Professor Dr. Ojit Tyagi sir. Tyagi sir, please.
Sir, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mohan, and a very good afternoon. On behalf of South Asian Meteorological Association, SAMA, it is a great honor to extend warm welcome to the Chief Guest, Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Naik, Guest of Honor, Dr. Roop Kumar, Heads of the National Met Services and Senior Scientists from South Asian countries, members of the Executive Council, Advisory Panel, Executive Coordination Team, and esteemed participants. On the special occasion of 5th Foundation Day of the SAMA, we are overwhelmed by the presence of two eminent visionary personalities, Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Naik and Dr. Rupa Kumar, who have played important role in promoting climate science and services in the South Asia. Among Dr. Naik's multifaceted achievements, I shall highlight two areas only. One is related to the regional cooperation and another related to the promotion of climate research. As a Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, he assured Earth system approach by integrating atmosphere, ocean, and cryosphere components, starting the Center for Climate Change Research at IITM Pune, and enabling supercomputing facility for running high-resolution global coupled models, which have been used in AR6 assessment as well. He actively supported regional cooperation through RIMES, BIMSTEC, and regional initiatives of WMO and UNESCO. Many of the climate activities, services activities in the country has been spearheaded under his leadership. Dr. Rupa Kumar, as a Chief of World Climate Application and Services Division of the WMO, he assisted in starting South Asian Climate Outlook Forum in 2010 at IMD Pune. It has become platform for capacity building and developing consensus for seasonal forecast for the South Asia. During COVID-19 period, because of lockdown and travel restrictions, physical meetings and interactions could not take place. It led from this the idea of South Asian Meteorological Association emerged. It was supported by Dr. Rathod, Dr. Chaudhary from Pakistan, Dr. Shrestha from Nepal, Dr. Karmakar from Bangladesh, Dr. Prem Das from Sri Lanka, Professor Mohanty, Professor Bhaskar Rao, and Professor Someshwar Das. The objective of SAMA were conceived as promoting regional cooperation, capacity building, user outreach, public awareness, promotion of research, and joint projects. There was a founding members meeting held on 3rd August, which he approved the formation of SAMA under these objectives, and a formulation of constitution and registration of society was done in the due course. For a period of 4 years, we have done more than 80 activities, details of which will be covered by Professor Someshwar Das. But I like to highlight that from zero budgeting, we don't have any external budgeting for a period of 40 years because of the support extended by the National Med Services academic institutions and senior retired and serving scientists have enabled us and strengthened our activities. You will be happy to know that we have been able to organize a series of webinars, med quiz, and also online training programs, very structured, high quality training programs where best of the faculty from the institutions and the government departments have supported us. First of this was atmospheric physics with the SRM University, where Dr. Bhaskar Rao, Dr. Mahapatra, Dr. S.K. Dash, Professor Mohanty, Dr. Pradeep Kumar from Pune University, and Vishwajit Mukhopadhyay, they delivered the lectures, followed by WRF modeling, 30 days intensive training program with the on-hand facilities provided by CDEC Pune. And we had a support from the IMED, NCMRWF, IIT Delhi, and many others faculty members. The third and very important training program was on satellite meteorology 20 lecture series, which was done with the BIT Mesra, and it was in an inaugural session. We had invited talks by Dr. Kelkar and Dr. Rajkumar Sharma, ex-director of the NRSC, and concluding session was talk was given by Dr. Prakash Chauhan. And now we are going on with the 20 lecture series on the radar meteorology, where meteorologists from ex-meteorologists from IMD and also Professor Chandra from Colorado University is supporting us. So these have been very, widely received, and we have registration of more than 2,000 and from 40 countries, because we are also working apart from the SAMA with non-aligned movement SNT Center, which helped us to have an outreach up to 40 to 50 African and Southeast Asian countries. So these are our capacity building programs which are going on. And also we are now targeting the students which we want to have a Met Olympiad for the school children. And also we want to start a public awareness campaign about the climate change and the natural hazards which have become with the extreme events affecting the large population of the South Asian countries. So the focus continues to be in capacity building, outreach, and public awareness. We are also like to now, there is a demand of doing some physical training. So for that, we are approaching various institutions to support us. And also we would like to do some joint projects on the weather phenomena which affects neighboring countries, like Northeast India is affected right from say Western Himalayas to the Eastern Himalayas, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Myanmar with the severe thunderstorms. Similarly, in the Northwest India and Pakistan, Afghanistan by the mid-latitude systems, and the south, the northeast monsoon affects southern India, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. So such projects we would like to take up in coming years. All this wouldn't have been possible without, I said, that support of our senior serving and the retired scientists and the academicians. We are happy to have a support from various academic institutions, as I mentioned, SRM University, BIT Mesra. Now we are doing with the QSET, the radar programs, also the Dhaka University and Tribhuvan University from Nepal. They are assisting us in various outreach activities like celebration of WMO Day and many other such activities. We are trying to promote similar institutions in Myanmar and also in Sri Lanka, Pakistan. A number of senior scientists have come forward, and I am sure we also supporting the country chapters to do the country-specific activities with the help from SAMA, and hopefully these will come up. Already Bangladesh has taken the lead. They have formed a Bangladesh chapter. We are looking forward for similar chapters from Nepal and Pakistan in coming years. Once again, thank you so much for your support. I am really indebted to all our senior colleagues who have been supporting as voluntarily. and also providing us guidance. I'm also thankful to all my executive coordination team, the young dynamic colleagues who are really under the able leadership of Professor Someshwar Das, who really burns midnight oil to send all the mails and coordinate all the activities, and also motivating all young people and student coordinators to take the Sama flag high. And I'm really thankful to each one of them. And I'm really happy that the support of all. And I'd like to mention that because of our such selfless activities, we have received a letter of appreciation from Secretary General of the WMO, while appreciating the activities of capacity building being done by Sama, and also the Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences has appreciated our activities and agreed to support our activities. We are also thankful to the Director General of India Med Department, who has agreed to provide office accommodation to the Sama, and hopefully we'll be able to take up this in coming months and start some physical activities at this location. So with these opening remarks, once again, my sincere thanks to our chief guests of honors, and all panelists who have spared their valuable time and have on this special occasion to celebrate our 5th Foundation Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Ajit Tyagi sir, for your inspiring words and the welcome address. Up next, we have Professor Dr. Someshwar Das, our secretary, who will provide a brief overview of Sama's activities since our last Foundation Week. Dr. Das has been instrumental in steering our initiatives, and his insights will shed light on our progress and future directions. So please join me in welcoming Professor Dr. Someshwar Das.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rohini and everybody. Once again, good afternoon. I expect that all the members of Sama, there are more than 600 members of Sama as of today, and also the participants of the Radar Meteorology Lecture Series may be watching in some form either on the YouTube, but I can see on the Zoom hardly 51 people attending through the Zoom. So, but I expected that at least 600 members and about more than 4,000 participants of the Radar Meteorology Lecture Series to attend this Foundation Day ceremony. I'd like to share my screen to give a brief presentation about the activities of Sama. Let me share the screen. Is my screen visible?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet.
Yes, sir, coming. Maybe
Coming?
it takes a little time. Yes,
Now
yes,
it's-
sir.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay, just a minute. Okay, thank you. As you know, this is the 5th Foundation Day commemoration of Sama. It was established on 3rd of August 2020 as a non-profit international scientific society. As Dr. Tyagi Sahab has already mentioned, the WMO Secretary General has appreciated Sama for its impactful contributions. In a message, Professor Celeste Saulo, the Secretary General of WMO, recently shared that appreciated Sama for its remarkable efforts in capacity building and training. This commendation recognizes Sama's impactful work across 60 plus countries in South Asia and among non-aligned movement member nations. Professor Saulo particularly emphasized the exceptional collaborative initiatives undertaken by Sama, which have significantly contributed to the advancement of meteorological understanding and practices in these regions. I know, most of the senior members who are present here, they have already seen these slides, but I expect that there are many new members who have joined Sama within the last 1 year since the last Foundation Day. They may not be aware of these things, so I'm just trying to repeat some of the slides which I had presented in earlier. Well, as you know, Sama is a non-profit scientific society of 9 South Asian countries, including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, engaged in promoting regional cooperation in the field of meteorology and allied sciences. Our vision is sharing knowledge of weather and climate without borders, and our mission is meteorology for the sustainable development of the region. SAMA is registered as a non-profit international society with its headquarters in India, New Delhi. Well, objectives of the SAMA, I will quickly read, are to foster interaction amongst the professionals working in meteorology and allied fields in South Asia, advancement of meteorological and allied sciences in South Asia, application of meteorology and allied sciences for the sustainable development of the region, communicate knowledge of climate change and extreme weather events to the public through citizen science and outreach programs, and promote public, private, and academia partnership for the promotion of the meteorology and its societal applications. As of today, there are total 660 members of SAMA, including 408 life members and 252 student members. So there is an increase of about 91 members since the last Foundation Day held on 3rd of August 2023. Individually, country-wise, if we see, then also we have got a good number of increments since the last Foundation Day. From Afghanistan, we have got about 15 members, life members. Bangladesh, 67 life members, 10 more than the last year. Bhutan, 12 life members. There is no increment since the last year. India, there is 176 members, 16 increments since last year. Maldives, 8 members, no increments since last year. Myanmar, 24 members, life members, 2 increments since last year's. Nepal has 45 members, there is only 1 increment since last year. Pakistan has got 29 members as of today, and a good number of increment. 16 members have joined SAMA since last Foundation Day. Sri Lanka has 28 members total, and there is 7 increments since the last Foundation Day. And we also allow some international members, like those who are outside the South Asia. We are also allowing them, and we call them as international members. About the student members also, we have got good numbers from almost all the countries except Maldives and Myanmar. And also, of course, Bhutan also, we don't have any student member as of now. But from Afghanistan, we have got 2 student members, Bangladesh 126 student members. India has got 71 student members, less than Bangladesh, of course. Nepal has got 38 student members, Pakistan 13 student members, and Sri Lanka has got 4 student members as of now. SAMA has constituted different scientific committees, as you know, and among them are education and outreach, numerical weather prediction, satellite meteorology, radar meteorology, air pollution, climate change, and mountain meteorology. Well, in the last 4 years, since 3rd of August 2020, SAMA has conducted total 85 activities, almost all of them online. But all the activities are conducted without any funding support. Among the major activities, of course, we conducted many webinars, training workshops, capacity building programs, lecture series. As you know, SAMA has conducted 3 lecture series already, and 4th lecture series is going on. The first one was on atmospheric physics. It was conducted for 4 months, in which 2,000 participants registered from 48 countries. And these 48 countries are because our institutional members like NAM, the Nolan Movement Center, are also, they have their own member countries, and so our programs are also open to them, and therefore 48 countries, as you can see, registered for the first lecture series on atmospheric physics. Then second was conducted on WRF modeling, online training. With the collaboration of CDAC, that is Center for Development of Advanced Computing in Pune, and CDAC was kind enough to allow the participants to share its computer for conducting hands-on practical in WRF model. Then we conducted a satellite meteorology lecture series for 5 months, in which 1,800 people registered from 59 countries. And currently, of course, the radar meteorology lecture series is going on. We have completed 10 lectures in that, and about another 10 or 12 more lectures are left in that. We conducted a special day celebrations like the WMO Day, Ozone Day, etc. We conducted quiz contests for school children from class 9th to 12th. And in one of the quiz contests, about 22,000 children participated from all the countries. We conducted a special lecture series on the works of the Nobel laureates. As you know, recently, I mean, about 1 year ago or 2 years ago, 2 scientists were awarded Nobel Prize in the field of atmospheric science, meteorology. One was Professor Sukiro Manabe, another was Professor Hasselmann from Germany. So we conducted a special lecture to review the works of the 2 Nobel laureates in atmospheric science. Then we publish newsletters every 6 months. We have published already 7 newsletters, and 8 newsletter is in process. These are the countries from which we have got participations from our lecture series. There was on atmospheric physics, satellite meteorology, and currently on radar meteorology. About 2,000 people from 60 countries registered for the courses. Well, we also have established the so-called Summer Student Championship Award since the last year. We announced it last year, and this year we are going to give for the first time the Summer Student Champions, which will be announced shortly. This year, about 7 students from different countries were selected for the Summer Championship Award based upon their contributions to the activities of summer. We expect that these students from different countries will contribute to the activities of summer. And we have got the student coordinators also from all these from some of the countries. So based upon their contributions, we selected them for awarding the Summer Student Champion for 2024, based upon their work on 2023 and 2024. Details will be given later. Then Sama is present in different social medias, like it has got its own website, it has got its Twitter handle, it is present in Facebook, it has got a YouTube channel. This entire today's function is being live streamed on the YouTube channel of Sama. Many are already watching on it. Then all the videos of the webinars as well as the lecture series that we have conducted, they're all archived on the YouTube channel of Sama and available to everybody as a scientific social service. Sama has a WhatsApp group of all the members, and also it has a Google group, email Google group of all the members. Sama also has a LinkedIn account. So these are the different social media in which Sama is present, and these are some of the highlights of the upcoming programs or future programs. Like already I said, the training course on radar meteorology going on, and upcoming programs will be on atmospheric dynamics, lecture series on atmospheric dynamics, data assimilation, air pollution, climate change, etc. Then we are exploring funding resources for conducting regional programs. As Tyagi Sahab already mentioned, more importantly, we are trying to look for an official space, and the Director General of Meteorology, India Met Department, is kind enough to provide us official space. Soon we shall be starting, hopefully, our small office in the IMD campus. Thanks to the DG IMD as well as the Secretary MOES, Dr. Ravi Chandran, for his kind help in this regard. We are exploring funding support for conducting regional programs. Like as I said, most of our programs have been conducted online, but now people have been asking that we should conduct some workshop face-to-face. And for that, we are planning that our first physical workshop will be conducted in 2025 in March or April, probably in Nepal, in collaboration with the Central Department of Hydrology and Meteorology, Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu, Nepal. And we're trying to explore funding support for that through Asia Pacific Network, APN funding, as well as any other funding support that we might get for conducting our physical workshop. Then encouraging the member countries to establish country-wide chapters of Sama. Professor Tyagi Sahab has already mentioned that India has got a country chapter already well established. Recently, in last March, 2-3 months ago, Bangladesh announced the formation of the Sama chapter in Bangladesh. Similarly, Nepal is also working on to start the chapter in Nepal. And in last meeting, that is the EC meeting that we had in July, our senior colleagues from Pakistan also mentioned that they will also try to form the Pakistan chapter of Sama in Pakistan. Then our other highlights of the activities are develop capacity building programs, which we are already doing it for research and development of the region through the scientific communities, conducting need-based training workshops for the member countries to improve their meteorological and hydrological services, explore the possibility of partnership with more regional agencies in addition to EC mode, RIMES and NAM Study Center. As mentioned by Dr. Tyagi Saab, presently we have got 3 institutional members. One is the EC mode, other is the RIMES, and third is the NAM Study Center. So we are also exploring to have more partnership, international partnership for SAMA as an institutional member. Then to develop linkage of SAMA with other international agencies in this field, such as IFMS, that is the International Federation for Meteorological Society, EMS, the European Meteorological Society, WMO, of course, we are in touch with them, etc. Develop regional research projects, mentorship to young researchers and students by senior scientists, work with NMHS, that is National Meteorological and Hydrological Services, regional associations and civil society in promoting application of meteorology for public safety and societal benefit. Societal applications like climate change, agriculture, aviation, energy sector. Engage private sector in promoting application of new technologies in instrumentation and software in meteorology. So these are our highlights of the future programs. And as I said, currently we are conducting the lecture series on radar meteorology, in which almost about 1,189 people, to be precise, have registered for the course from 48 countries. 10 lectures are over out of 22 lectures in that. And also I would like to mention that recently many members of SAMA attended the GVEX conference in Japan at Sapporo. And since there are many members of SAMA, so we thought that we should take this opportunity to have a small meeting of the members of SAMA in Japan. And we had a very successful meeting there with the members, about 30 members of SAMA from Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. And some also non-members from South Asia attended the meeting. We tried to encourage the non-members to join SAMA as full-time members, life members, as well as for the students as a student member. So thank you so much. This is the summary of the activities of SAMA since the last Foundation Day. Thank you, Dr. Mohan. On to you.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Someshwar Dutt, sir, for the comprehensive update of the SAMA activities and very recent one also. Now it is our honor to felicitate our honorable chief guest, Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak. Dr. Nayak is a distinguished scientist, director of the National Institute of Advanced Studies, chancellor of the Terry School of Advanced Studies, and the former secretary of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India. His contribution to the field of earth science are immense and widely recognized. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Poulomi Chakraborty to introduce our honorable chief guest.
Thank you, Mohan sir, for the introduction. And I'll quickly share my screen if it is allowed.
Yes, please.
Yes. I hope my screen is visible to you.
Yes, yes.
It is with,
Yes.
it is with great pleasure today that we invite upon our stage Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak to the 5th Foundation Day of the South Asian Meteorological Association. The South Asian Meteorological Association is honored to welcome Dr. Shailesh Nayak as our chief guest for this momentous occasion. Dr. Nayak is a renowned scientist whose contributions to the field of climate change, weather services, polar science, geoscience, and ocean science have been monumental. Dr. Nayak currently serves as the director of the National Institute of Advanced Studies in Bangalore, India, and the chancellor of the Terry School of Advanced Studies in Delhi. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Journal of the Indian Society of Remote Sensing and a life trustee at the India International Center, New Delhi. His illustrious career includes serving as the chair of the Earth System Science Organization and secretary to the Government of India for the Ministry of Earth Sciences. With a PhD in geology from the MS University of Baroda, Dr. Nayak began his career at the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, and rose to become the director of Marine and Water Resources Group. His visionary leadership has been pivotal in conceptualizing and executing numerous national projects that liberate satellite data for ocean color, coastal zone management, and water resources. Dr. Naik's innovative work includes the establishment of a state-of-the-art early warning system for tsunami and storm surges at the Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services. He has significantly improved advisory services related to potential fishing zones and ocean state forecasts, demonstrating his commitment to advancing ocean science and technology. Throughout his career, Dr. Naik has published around 190 papers and delivered approximately 200 invited talks at national and international forums. His dedication to science and education is reflected in his fellowship with prestigious academies and societies and numerous awards, including the Padma Shri, one of the highest ranked civilian award bestowed for his contribution to the field of science. Dr. Naik's current research focuses on building strategies for the blue economy, sustainable development, and science diplomacy, aligning with his lifelong mission to contribute to society through science. We are at the South Asian Meteorological Association are deeply grateful to Dr. Shailesh Naik for gracing us with his presence and sharing his vast knowledge and insights. His achievements and active involvement throughout his career and vision continues to inspire us all. Thank you so much, sir. I'll stop sharing myself.
Thank you, Dr. Polomi, for the introduction. So now we are very privileged to hear from our chief guest, Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Naik, sir. Dr. Naik's elucidation on the current meteorological challenges and advancements will undoubtedly provide valuable insights. So please welcome me in welcoming Dr. Shailesh Naik, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm extremely grateful to Sama for bestowing this honor on me, and extremely happy to be with you today on a very important occasion of your 5th Foundation Day. First of all, my greetings to all of you on the 5th Foundation Day, and I could see that within 5 years, the kind of activity which has been done, which is spread not only to the South Asia, but throughout the world. I mean, number of countries which you have reached is about 60 itself, shows that your work has been appreciated throughout the world. My heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Tyagi, to Dr. Someshwar Das, Dr. Mohan, and all the executive members, as well as all the representatives from the countries from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. I think the work which is being done by Sama is of extremely useful. And as we know that the weather and climate has become a major issue today, and one of the major challenges for the world community for the sustainable existence. I think one of the very important, and I think Dr. Rupa Kumar and Professor Fatima may be able to tell you more about this. But one thing which I was very much impressed with today's discussion, which is on the climate service and the action plan on the mitigation of the impacts of the climate change. I think this is very important, but I would also like to add, when we are discussing about the climate services, I think the aspect of the social science and humanities is equally important. Today, we have one study done in Kerala, in few villages in Kerala, and we realized that we are unable to tell either the state or non-state advice to the local people how to adapt to these changes. We are seeing in Kerala many villages where, especially in monsoon, the paddy fields are getting inundated by the seawater, and their crop is lost. And they also tried to do some aquaculture, which is also not very successful. I think this kind of issues, which are going to be very different places quite differently, And we need to provide them in scientific advice how they should address. I'm also aware of the changes which are happening in the Sundarbans, which is both Bangladesh and India shares, where we have seen that because of the increasing marine influence, the Sundar, that is the Sundari tree, which is Heritaria, are losing, and it is being replaced by more marine resistant species like Avicennia. And this could have a major change on the biodiversity and all. So I think the impacts which we are looking at, I think we need not look at only the human, but also on the ecosystems, both the coastal and marine ecosystems. And because this ecosystem also provide various services on which the livelihood also depends. So I'm sure that in coming years, you will organize some of the programs where the issues of the communities are also addressed, because it is better to have the scientific advice to these people that how they should be able to cope with it. I am extremely grateful to Sama, and I wish very best in coming years. And I'm sure that the kind of enthusiasm which Sama has and the kind of a cooperation which we are getting from all the countries in the South Asia, I'm sure that in coming years, the Sama will scale a greater heights and serve the community. Thank you very much again for the honor which you have bestowed on me. Thank you.
Thank you, respected Dr. Shailesh Naik, sir, for your enlightening address. It is now time for our keynote address by the guest of honor, Dr. Rupa Kumar Kohli, sir. Dr. Kumar is the former president of the Indian Meteorological Society, IMS, and the former chief of the WCRP, World Climate Application and Service Division of the WMO. His keynote on development of a regional framework for climate services for South Asia is highly appreciated. Now I would like to request Dr. Fatima Akhtar from Department of Meteorology, University of Dhaka, Bangladesh, and also the Executive Coordination Team member of SAMA to introduce our guest of honor.
I'm sharing the screen.
I already
I'm
shared.
audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I already shared. Can you see? Hello.
No, not yet. Yes.
So if okay, you can share. Yes, all right.
Full screen. Yeah. Go back to the previous slide.
Thank you. I'm introducing our keynote speaker, today's guest of honor, Dr. Rupa Kumar Kohli. He is an honorary scientist, the International Monsoon Project Office, IMPO, at the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, India. He is also currently serving as the Vice Chair of World Meteorological Organization, Standing Committee on Climate Services, and President of Indian Meteorological Society. Earlier, Dr. Kumar had served as the Executive Director of IMPO, and prior to this, he had served for 13 years, from 2006 to 2019, as the Chief of World Climate Chief of the World Climate Application and Services Division at WMO Secretariat. He made significant contributions to the development of regional climate centers and regional national climate outlook forums. Dr. Kumar has earlier worked at the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, IITM, Pune, from 1982 to 2006, and was the head of the IITM Climatology and Hydrometeorology Division. Dr. Kumar had served earlier as a member and co-chair of the Asian Australian Monsoon Panel and a member of expert team on climate change detection and indices. He has numbers of publication. He is the co-author of a book of climates of South Asia published by John Wiley. And he also contributed one of the lead authors of regional climate projections for the 4th assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, in 2007. Dr. Kumar received his PhD in 1981 and MSc in 1976 in meteorology from Andhra University. Thank you. That's all from me, and we are very pleased to have Dr. Rupa Kumar Kali as our guest of honor. Thank you.
Welcome, Rupa Kumar Kali, sir, as a guest of honor.
Thank you, Fatima, and thank you, Mohan, for that excellent introduction. Let me first congratulate and compliment Sama on the 5th Foundation Day, all the members, and particularly the executive team, ably led by Dr. Ajit Tyagi and Dr. Someshwar Das. And in fact, in 5 years, what you have achieved is tremendous, and I really appreciate the hard work put in by you and the sustained engagement with all the communities in the various countries. And it is also a great honor for me to be invited as guest of honor, particularly in the presence of Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak. It's a great honor for me, and I feel privileged to be able to take up this honor and also provide a keynote talk on one of the most important topics that Dr. Shailesh Nayak has already highlighted, that is the climate services, and how, as an association of South Asian meteorologists, how we can actually help these countries to actually work together to address the climate challenges. So let me share my screen, and I'll try to be brief because I think we are a bit short on time. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is actually a kind of aspirational exercise rather than providing a solution for developing a kind of regional framework for climate services. And I'll try to bring some of the concepts. In fact, many of the ideas in developing climate services frameworks have been in the public domain for many years. And many of the ideas may be already known to you, particularly, in fact, we have among the audience many people who actually led some of the activities in developing the climate services framework within WMO and also at various other levels. But at the same time, I think it's useful to review and relook at some of those ideas and see how we can actually use them to work towards a coordinated framework that can be developed for South Asia. And in fact, I will start with a personal anecdote. In fact, my first steps into actually thinking South Asia rather than thinking within the national boundaries actually started in the late 90s. And in fact, you can see an image. I included that just for fun. This is actually, you can see an actor in the Jackie Chan movie Bleeding Steel holding our book. Of course, not to educate himself about climates of South Asia, but actually to hide behind the book. This was actually spotted by Surya a few years back, and I thought it'll be fun to actually to share that with you. So actually, while working towards this book, actually my memory goes back to the late 90s when Sulochana Gadgil actually organized a workshop on the climate of South Asia in Bengaluru. And that time, we hardly knew anyone from other countries within South Asia. So we had no idea how to actually provide contributions to this workshop on a regional scale. So then what we did was, within IITM itself, we shared each country among our scientists. So I took Sri Lanka, and someone else took Bangladesh, and someone else took Pakistan. Like that, with different scientists from within IITM actually started working on the climate aspects about the other countries. So that's how my access to South Asian climate and the data and the various features actually contributed tremendously in our preparation of that book. And subsequently, my real physical interaction with South Asian colleagues happened during the implementation of the Indo-UK program on climate change, where actually you can see some of the images where for the first time we have some map that goes into other countries rather than stopping at national boundaries. So this actually helped me to get a kind of a mindset to think about South Asia when we are actually thinking about climate. So this is a kind of personal anecdote I wanted to share with you. And now coming back to this topic, and we know that as Dr. Shailesh Naik has already highlighted earlier, in a generic sense, climate information is increasingly being recognized that it is critical for decision making in many climate sensitive contexts. And we also have seen that climate change, particularly with every increment of global warming, the impacts, related losses and damages are only increasing, escalating. So with that background, it's very clear that improved access to climate information and services is critically required to help societies to become climate resilient. And in that context, there is growing demand for climate information and services at all levels. And it also covers a wide range of timescales that we need to support. It's not just seasonal forecast or long-term climate change. I think people are looking at the wide spectrum of climate variability and change to take decisions in climate sensitive context. So that is how we have to look at the climate services concept. And it is mainly helping us to consolidate our knowledge about the climate and giving information about the state of the climate in the past, in the present, and also into the future. And also identify the impacts of climate variability and change on different sectors within the community. And then knowing the impacts, how do we develop and deliver products and advice for helping people to deal with the expected impacts. And in that process, we also need to facilitate effective uptake and application of these products for them to apply the information in a most appropriate way and in the best possible way. And once we understand the need for climate services, we also need to figure out why you need a framework. This is mainly because it is clear that, in fact, even as part of my work with WMO, when I was closely involved with the development of the global framework for climate services, it was very clear in the beginning itself that present capabilities of providing and using climate services is not exploiting fully all that we know about climate. In fact, in many cases, we have seen that information is there, but people are not either looking at it or they are not able to understand and apply in the right way. So that is one reality that we have to keep in mind. And present capabilities also fall far short of meeting current and future needs in delivering their full and potential benefits. Because climate information has to lead to some benefits, and we are not able to fully achieve those benefits particularly in developing countries. And so keeping that in view, it was felt that a framework for climate services will build on the existing capabilities. Whatever we are doing, we have to actually build on that, and rather than building something new, and leverage this through coordination to help everybody to work together hand in hand. And in that process, it is envisaged as a set of international and national arrangements to coordinate the climate activities. As I said before, building on the current capabilities, and to provide climate services focused on user needs, wider access, and greater benefits of climate knowledge. And of course, the National Meteorological and Hydrological Services are recognized to be the key building blocks, because most of the climate information is generated and disseminated by the National Meteorological and Hydrological Services, and they should be driving the provision of that information in the best possible way. So with this understanding and recognition, the Global Framework for Climate Services was established about 15 years back in 2009 at the World Climate Conference 3, with the overarching goal to enable better management of the risks of climate variability and change, and adaptation to climate change at all levels through development and incorporation of science-based climate information and prediction into planning, policy, and practice. So this is the overarching goal that is valid even today, and our responsibility is to actually to try and take up activities to help us reach that goal in the best way possible. And of course, the front line of climate action, this is actually a report prepared by a high-level task force created to develop the GFCS. And the high-level task force actually gave us a concept which actually was labeled as climate knowledge for action and empowering the most vulnerable. So that is how all the elements of the GFCS were fully fleshed out, and they have given us guidance on how to move forward on this. And on top of that, the United Nations is also strongly pushing for climate action through their sustainable development goals. And in fact, goal number 13 is directly dealing with climate action, and which commits us to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, and recognizing that climate change is no longer something that is expected in the future, but it is already happening now, and we have to deal with it. And in that process, the WMO community, that means all the entire meteorological community, is indispensable for climate action. And we need to work towards developing full value cycle science to services to help populate the climate action for the good of the society. And for this, what we need is to have an advance, we need to advance our knowledge of the health system, and we need to find ways to monitor constantly the state of the climate at different levels, both at the global and at the regional and national levels, and supporting climate policy and providing climate services and early warnings. And in this sustainable development goal, it is clear that the meteorological community remains at the front line of climate action to realize the shared vision. So, as you know, this actually, I think many people may have seen earlier. So GFCS was conceived as composed of 5 pillars. I will go into those pillars at a later stage in more greater detail, but it's very important to understand that any regional or global framework will have to actually work within the structure provided by these pillars. And the GFCS, actually, the high-level task force also gave us a set of fundamental principles, which are also very important to be kept in mind. These are giving priority to the most vulnerable, and maximizing the use of climate services, and having the climate services structured on global, regional, and national scales, and to make it operational and not a kind of academic exercise, and also treating climate services as public good, and that it should be provided to the public free of charge, and maximizing the data exchange, and no duplication or no new development. If something is already existing, we have to build on that and not try to build a new thing. And of course, the GFCS fundamentally requires partnership. We will be working with a wide range of climate sensitive sectors. And GFCS also, as established by WMO, has a very clear governance, but the governance arrangements have been changing. In the initial stages, we used to have an intergovernmental board on climate services. And in fact, we have Dr. Rathod among the audience, who actually served as one of the co-vice presidents of this IBCS. And subsequently, in 2020, when WMO went through a major governance reform, the IBCS was disbanded, and a climate coordination cell, climate coordination panel actually supported the GFCS governance. And in addition to WMO commissions, the Services Commission, and within that, the Standing Committee on Climate Services, which I have the privilege to support. And 2023 onwards, even the Climate Coordination Panel is no longer there within the governance. And now the WMO Services Commission, the Standing Committee on Climate Services, actually is supporting the GFCS governance. And of course, in cooperation with the WMO Secretariat. So we have to keep this in mind, because when we go for the regional framework for climate services, we need to closely work with the GFCS governance, and they have a lot of support that they can provide for us to move through that process. So the GFCS overarching implementation and objectives, actually we know that there are some priority sectors that are identified for GFCS implementation. So these are the applications that we have to look at. And at the same time, we have some foundational pillars, either in terms of observation, monitoring, or research, or operational climate information provision, or capacity development. So these are the foundational pillars that we know that are supporting the dissemination of climate services. But what is important and what is critical and what doesn't, what we don't have in a good form is the bridge that connects the information with the decision makers. I think this is where the connecting user needs with climate services through sustained engagement, that has to be placed more in a major priority area. And this has to happen at all levels, national, regional, and global. So this is how the overarching implementation objectives or GFCS are being addressed. And the typical interactions that we need for GFCS, particularly at regional and national scales, is that, of course, the NMHSs have to be involved of the concerned region. And we also need to work with the regional and national agencies responsible for various climate sensitive sectors. And there may be some regional and national stakeholders that essentially deal with policy formulation and decision making, who also need climate information. And we need sustained platforms, particularly for multidisciplinary interactions at both regional and national scales. And we also need to closely work with universities and other academia to take into account the latest research advances, and also to look at new problems and address them with new research. And we also need to work with non-governmental organizations, both at the regional and national scales, whose activities are also sensitive to climate variability and change, particularly in humanitarian assistance and allied areas. And we also need to work with public-private partnerships, because there is a lot of capabilities in the private sector that we should fully take advantage of. And looking at the GFCS pillars very quickly, the user interface platform actually essentially deals with the feedback from the users, and also working with them to have a dialogue, to communicate our products, and also to understand their needs, and evaluation that monitors and how to understand how useful these products are, and also look at the outreach that needs awareness building, and also communicating the products in the best possible way. And more importantly, we need to have a sustainable mechanism for this. This is not a one-off or one-off event that we can do everything in one platform. So we need to have a sustainable mechanism. And for this, we have the advantage that we have regular regional climate forum activities that we'll go into at a later stage. And so these are the sustainable platform. These are all part of the user interface platform. And this pillar has to address these aspects. And of course, there is climate service information system. It is, I will not go into the details, but it is essentially a cascading system spanning global, regional, and national institutions, and that provide the basic climate information across all the time scales and space scales. And then the CSIS implementation strategy essentially is to provide functional descriptions, particularly on climate data, climate monitoring, climate prediction, and climate projection. That is to cover everything, and then have an operational infrastructure consisting of global to national scale entities that produce this information, and also provide a climate services toolkit that can be applied at different levels to develop and produce these products. And of course, capacity development also is an important part of this one. This is climate services toolkit. I will not get into details, but one aspect I would like to highlight here, that climate information should have a combination of pull and pressure, pull and push. That is, we have to actually make users aware of the advances that we have and the product that we are capable of delivering. And at the same time, we also have to understand the user needs. And this is how the users pull our information providers to actually to help us design and disseminate the products actually required by them. This happens only with a good information flow, and also on the feedback and requirements, which has to be. This is actually built into the CST, the Climate Services Toolkit, that is being actively developed by WMO, and hopefully this will also be seen very soon on regional and national scales. And the observations and monitoring pillar, of course, is about observations, and we need to find ways to fill all the observational gaps and make sure that all countries are able to share the observational data and use that in monitoring. And research, modeling, and prediction is another pillar where we need to work with the academia to understand the climate variability and change, and produce new products that can help the society in dealing with climate variability and change. And in this context, this is not just climate research, and as Dr. Shailesh Naik pointed out earlier, we also need to work with this socio-economic sectors and various other climate-sensitive sector information to actually understand the impact. So that also is part of the research, modeling, and prediction. So we have to combine all these aspects into this particular pillar. And the final pillar is, of course, the capacity development, which actually spans across all the other pillars discussed earlier. The capacity is actually classified for convenience as 4 types: human capacity, infrastructural capacity, procedural capacity, and institutional capacity. So we have to address each of these capacities individually and also in a consolidated manner. And by addressing both demand and supply side, it's not just climate side. And also it should be service oriented, and it should respond to user needs, which can be changing over a period of time, and should be balanced with the capabilities that science can deliver within the climate science. And the GFCS, based on the last 15 years of experience, has now been refocused within WMO. And it has 5 elements. One is to strengthen the service capacity. And second one is supporting policy and finance with various products, with authority to scientific information. And the third one is developing standards on quality management. And fourth is developing climate services value chain cycle, because climate services has many links, many chains. And across the whole chain, we should see value addition at each level and also at the end. So this is where the full value chain or full value cycle plays an important role in working in developing climate services. And of course, there is also a need to improve the visibility of the GFCS and promote coordination to actually be able to get the resources that we need to build these things. So this has a kind of cascading strategy for implementing, and mainly CSIS, which is closer to the meteorological community, This is how it is being organized at global, regional, and national levels. And WMO has many structures that actually help us in getting through the technical aspects of many of these things. But on the sectoral side, we need to work with the concerned agencies to make sure that we are able to address their requirements and also get the feedback to tailor the product that are required for their decision making. And how do we actually get into the regional approach for GFCS implementation? The regional approach rationale actually comes from the fact that the country-focused GFCS implementation approach focuses on creating regional delivery systems, tools and methods, and also national capacities to improve climate-related outcomes. This is actually built into the country-focused GFCS implementation, because the countries should see the benefit of implementing the GFCS. That is the ultimate goal for the GFCS. And in this context, a focused regional effort will facilitate systematic strengthening of the early warning services, and with facilitated access to regional information that is considered to be very critical and essential for national level climate services. And we also know that many countries share common climate drivers, and it's very important for these countries to work together. In that sense, it is no longer, the regional approach is no longer an optional feature, but it is fundamental to the development of climate services, even on the local scales. So this is recognized, that is where you actually need to prioritize a regional setup for supporting climate services. And WMO is already conducting a number of projects, implementing a number of projects to demonstrate this particular aspect and help upscale the idea into other regions over a period of time. And what does the regional framework for climate services mean? This is actually a brief idea of how it can be characterized. It is actually a mechanism for coordinating, facilitating, and strengthening collaboration among the national institutions within a given region, underpinned by sustained support from the regional bodies. And these should be essentially intergovernmental to make sure that we have regional commitments from the countries that are part of this region. So that's very important. And why do you need this? This is to improve co-production, tailoring, delivery, and use of science-based and regionally optimized. So climate information has many sources, and we need to optimize the information on a regional scale, and then provide that optimized information to the countries to be used to further downscale to the national scales. And who will do this? Mainly the regional bodies lead, but possibly building on the existing RCC or RCOF arrangements, and engage national stakeholders within the region for the 5 GFCS pillars and priority areas. So this is essentially what it means to have a regional framework. And we already have some elements that can actually help us to get into the regional framework for climate services. For example, the regional climate centers, which are now spread all over the world. And we do have the advantage for South Asia that we have at least 3 or 4 RCCs that can support South Asian activities. And more importantly, the RCC Pune, which is hosted by IMD in India, that is directly supporting South Asian operations. And there are also regional climate outlook forums. And in fact, very recently, a new climate forum has been started for the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, the Third Pole Climate Forum that you can see. So there are many climate outlook forums. Now we are actually working towards expanding or broadening the climate outlook forum beyond the seasonal outlook, and help them to cover from historical observations up to climate change projections. So this is how the climate forums also can help us in developing the regional framework. And when we move towards the RFCS, or Regional Framework for Climate Services, it facilitates regional scale dialogues between the concerned national or regional stakeholders in the production and application of climate services. And these can be seen as critical components for establishing coordination and collaboration. as well as vital mechanisms for establishing authenticity of the climate services. And in the process of supporting RFCS, a suitable regional mechanisms need to be identified as the primary coordinating agency to bring together. So this is an important aspect. Unless a coordinating mechanism is established, it cannot progress on its own. And we also need a structured approach for developing the RFCS, building on the current efforts, and followed by consultation, because all the countries within the region should have a opportunity to express their views, and this is how it actually we have to move. And there are many potential benefits. I will not get into the details because of lack of time, but it definitely helps us to have a sustained and increased collaboration between Met Services and also the regional, national and regional sectoral stakeholders. So these are the potential benefits. And we also need a kind of governance structure for the RFCS, just like we have for GFCS. We also need a widely or commonly agreed approaches to have the RFCS governed. And for this, we definitely need high-level engagement with stakeholders and also the government ministries to get the required political support, funding, and also agreement on the steps for implementation. And it should be inclusive, because we need to make sure that all the relevant stakeholders are able to play a role, and we should provide the required opportunities. And the form of framework and the governance around it should ultimately be determined by the countries within the region, so that we take into account the existing infrastructure, the national requirements, and also the regional mechanisms. And to bring some kind of tangible approaches that we can use for developing the framework. We already have a well-established South Asian Climate Outlook Forum that Dr. Tyagi, in fact, helped in establishing. He mentioned my name only, but he also was one of the key founding players in developing this forum. And only with his help, with myself in WMO, we were able to establish this. And now I'm very happy to see that it is strengthening very much, and it's sustained, and all the countries are actively associated with it and with the broader ownership. So we have to build on that strength and move towards a regional framework for climate services for South Asia. An additional advantage that we have for SASCOF is that they also have user engagement in a very systematic way, and we are seeing excellent development in the way they are connecting to the users. And with the help of other partners who are actually bringing user elements, this is again another strength that we should fully exploit of the current arrangements. But at the same time, there are some gaps that we need to address. We have to identify them and move towards them. And apart from RCC and RCOF, there are also many other recent initiatives which give us some encouragement that we can actually take up the RFCS for South Asia in a big way. For example, WCRP has organized a climate research forum focused on South Asia a few years back. And we also have the World Bank leading a South Asia Hydromet Forum, which is already bringing together all these countries. And there are also other agencies like the Global Heat Health Information Network, with which I am actively associated with, who have organized the South Asia Heat Health Summit, which also has led to other activities like the South Asia Heat Health Information Network. And more recently, SAMA and SAFOM, they have actually organized a workshop focused on agriculture. So these are some of the initiatives on regional scale, which very nicely fit into the idea of regional framework for climate services. And we should try to bring together all these initiatives and help consolidate these strengths, and then see what additional work that we can do to actually to get there in establishing a regional framework for climate services. So in terms of way forward, what we need are a kind of regional and national CSIS implementation, which is actually an operational setup, because that is the energy that is needed to drive the climate, the regional framework for climate services. And it needs a lot of partnerships to mobilize stakeholder engagement. And we also need to enhance the global regional inputs and then help mainstream their use. So WMO has the WMO WIPS, WMO Integrated Processing and Prediction System, which actually has all the global regional elements. And we have I think, great capacity within the region itself. What we need is just to connect them and expanding the current ARCA portfolio into RCF and sustained regional climate service user forums and sustained engagement of regional implementation partners, including WMO Regional Association 2, which actually is a kind of intergovernmental support that we can get, RIMES, UNESCAP, BIMSTEC, ICIMOD, etc. There are many regional entities. I think we should make full use of their capabilities in driving the regional framework. And they can actually help us sustain regional mechanisms to engage stakeholders from all the South Asian countries. And we also need to regionally consolidate and complement the investments, because so many projects are being implemented, and we need to make sure that they're not inconsistent with each other or there are duplications. So that is how we have to consolidate. And regional professional associations like SAMA, SAFOM, etc. can also serve as catalysts to develop and establish the RFCS for South Asia in close coordination with other partners. And finally, I leave you with these concluding remarks. What we need is improved access and application of climate information. And we also need multidisciplinary and international collaborations and exchange of information. And it's very clear that RFCS for South Asia can serve as a major step forward. And it can, in fact, I can share with you that there are no regional frameworks for climate services in any of the other regions. So if South Asia can take up the challenge and develop, this can become a role model for even for the other regions to emulate. And we need to put in greater focus on capacity development, because we know that there are significant requirements in terms of capacity building, and we need to identify those capacity requirements and help them to gain the capacity. And finally, SAMA, I think, is rightly placed to take up this challenge, and I would strongly encourage SAMA to take up the development of RFCS for South Asia as a major priority in its future activities. And I'm sure SAMA will be able to pull together all the relevant stakeholders and actually take up the idea. Of course, we need intergovernmental support, but once we start the process, I think that will come because of the importance of the topic. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rupakumar, for your compelling keynote address. Moving on. So now it is my pleasure to announce the SAMA Student Champion Awards for the 2024 year. This award recognizes exceptional contributions by our student members. The awardee has shown exemplary dedication and innovation in meteorological research. So I will be announcing the names, and we would like that you switch on your camera and wave through that. Mr. Bharat J, India. Mr. Dibash Dev, Bangladesh. Miss Vaishnav Bhartiya, India.
The awardees are requested to
Please
keep
wave.
their video on and wave the hand at least. All the
Yes,
awardees are requested to keep their video on.
Yeah, Vaishnav has waved, Bharat has waved. Dibash from Bangladesh. Mr. Kumar Bajagan, Nepal. Ms. H.G. Chaturi P. Gamaje, Sri Lanka. Mr. Muhammad Khalid Halim, Afghanistan. Ms. Sadia Arifin Saifa, Negaban, Bangladesh.
Not visible. Are you visible?
Chaturi, I can see Ramaji. So, 4 I can see.
You can display the poster having all the photographs.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Mohan, can you display it for a minute or for?
Just a minute, Rohini. I think we can inform the audience regarding the criteria,
Yes.
who is based on what Sama Student Championship Award have been given. So it is the based on act as an ambassador of Sama in his or her own country for spreading the message about the vision, mission, and objectives of Sama among their colleagues and encourage them to become member of Sama. Support the activities to accomplish the objectives of Sama. Support the members of the ECT of Sama to organize activities like seminars, webinars, workshops, training programs, lecture series, a special day celebration like Foundation Day, the World Meteorological Day, and many others. Support in writing minutes of the meeting reports, newsletters, making posters, flyers for the activities carried out by Sama. Organize a student interaction program, on-site, online, student congress, debate competition, quiz contest in the school, college, universities. Create awareness program by the lecture, posters on weather, climate, and environment school children, environment among school children, laymen, and less privileged sections of the society, and any other works related to the Sama assigned by the Honorable President and Secretary. So here is the selected all Sama student champions. Here it is shown all. I think everyone is present. Please wave your hand so we can make a photo accordingly, right? Rohini.
Yes, a big clap to all the student members.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Sama.
So congratulations to everyone.
Congratulations very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
yes. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. Next, we will also like to felicitate the esteemed Executive Council team, ECT members of Sama for 2024. This is for their unwavering commitment and efforts, which have been pivotal in driving our mission forward. On behalf of all the ECT members, I would request Dr. Lakshmi Kumar to say few words.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rohini. I think this is a great platform, to express my opinion on behalf of Executive Coordination Team of Sama. We are very happy to be associated with Sama as ECT members. Sama has become the wonderful platform for the people who have urged to serve the needy through meteorology. Through this forum, we got the opportunity to work with the South Asian scientists and academicians in organizing the various programs and participating in the deliberations. So this, I can say, definitely enhanced all of our abilities. So by means of our, you can say, intellectually as well as organizationally also. And it was very great pleasure for us to work with the team always. Any activity of Sama, we are organizing as a team. And this have really morally boosted us a lot that, to expand our network. And we feel that we are internationally connected, or, we are internationally connected everywhere. Okay, this feeling we have got, more feeling we have got by working through Sama. So I thank all on behalf of ECT team. So I thank all the leaders of Sama, primarily Professor Tyagi sir as well, and Someshwar Das sir and other advisory panel members. So for providing this wonderful platform to us to work with all of you. Thank you.
Two of the recent ECT members, like one from Myanmar, Dr. Kya Than Oo, and another Mr. Jamadar, Sikandar Jamadar. Their names were not listed because
Sir, it is in the certificate. Actually, I got the last version, so immediately I just put it. So hopefully, final version we will email with with the certificate. Thank you, sir, for your concern.
so you're going to announce the certificate, how they will collect the certificate?
Yes, yeah, I think yes, sir. Now I
I
would
think we
like
can
to
mail them, sir.
request Lakshmi Kumar. Please, how they can collect the certificate? Please brief.
I
Please.
think I will mail them, or through Sama email, the mail will reach them. I think since there are only limited number of certificates, yeah, this is the certificate for the Sama student champion. And on behalf of Sama, I congratulate everyone, all the students. So, and I also expect the students will work more in the coming years.
Thank you, sir.
And this is the certificate for the ECT members. So I think we will mail these certificates to you. Okay, maybe in a day or two it will reach you.
Dr. Lakshmi. Now over to you, Dr. Mohan.
Okay, thank you, Rohini. Now it is, I think, time for a good photo session. We'll now take a brief moment for a photo session with our distinguished guests and awardees, including all. So please, Polomi Chakraborty and everyone, please help and to take a group photo. So I would like to request everyone, please switch on your video so we can take a group photo accordingly. Okay, be ready.
Everyone, please switch on your cameras.
Fatima.
Yes. Dr. Fatima Akhtar, please. Rathod sir, I can see some name here and many others. Sushil Kumar sir, Dr. Raju sir.
Everyone with big smiles. It's the 5th birthday of Sama.
Be ready. 3, 2, 1. Click. Can you take one more?
Yes. Anyone else wants to come on it on the video?
Still, many cameras are not on. Many participants are not visible. So anyway, we have to move.
Yes, sir. Still, Rathod sir, Sushil Kumar sir, Wing Commander Gauripati and Nazifa Sultana and many others.
So we are already about half an hour late.
Yeah, can quickly go for the next session. Be ready. This is the last and final call for the photography. Ready.
नीतीश इसमें कैमरा कैसे ऑन हो गया?
Yeah, be ready. I think Wing Commander sir already switched on his video, and Suraj Raj, Alisha sir also, and many others. Okay. I think Polam, you can take the final one.
Yes. Ready,
Be
everyone?
ready.
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So thank you for everyone for helping to take a good smiling memories.
Dr.
We
Das,
now
my
move
camera
to
just
our panel discussion.
my camera was having some upset. Only now it
Okay,
is on.
we'll take another one quickly. Polam, please help. Fine. So now it is our time for panel discussion. As our Secretary Sir mentioned, it is already 30 minutes delayed. So quickly we'll go for the panel discussion. This session will delve into strategies and collaborative efforts to address the pressing challenge of climate change in our region. I'd like to introduce our esteemed panelists who bring wealth of knowledge and experience from their respective countries. Alphabetically, from Afghanistan, Mr. Nasim Muradi, Director of Afghanistan Meteorological Department. He is already with us, I think. From Bangladesh, MD Azizur Rahman Sir, Director, Bangladesh Meteorological Department. He is already with us. From Bhutan, Dr. Singh Dorji, Chief of the Weather and Climate Service Division and CSM. From India, Dr. Mohapatra Sir, Director General of the Indian Meteorological Department, IMD. From Maldives, Dr. Abdullah Wahid, Director General, Maldives Meteorological Services. From Myanmar, Dr. Ka Mo, I'm sorry for the misspelling, Director General of Department of Meteorology and Hydrology. From Nepal, Dr. Jagadishwar Karmacharya, Director General, Department of Hydrology and Meteorology. From Pakistan, Dr. Arif Gohir, Director, Global Climate Change Impact Studies, Center, Pakistan. From Sri Lanka, Anusha Madam is with us, Director from Sri Lanka Meteorological Department. Now I would like to request to introduce panel session moderator with us. Rohini, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mohan, for introducing our esteemed panelists. So as we move into the panel discussion, I would also like to introduce our session moderator, Dr. Mandira Shrestha, a quick one. She's senior water resources specialist at ICMOR and Joint Secretary of SAMA. Dr. Shrestha will guide us through this insightful discussion on climate services and action plans. Ma'am, please.
So,
Well, a
Mandira
very-
ma'am.
Yes, a very good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, loud
Yes.
and perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'm extremely delighted to be here to be moderating this important panel discussion on the occasion of the 5th Foundation Day celebration of SAMA. I think we had a very good start already, and Dr. Rupa Kumar Kohli has provided quite an elaborate and comprehensive presentation on climate services, particularly looking at the regional climate services as well as the national climate services. So without further delay, I would like to go on regarding on an alphabetical manner on this particular panel discussion, particularly looking at the climate services and action plans at the national level for mitigating the impacts of climate change in the respective countries. I know we have from all the 8 countries, 9 countries here actually represented today for this panel discussion. So I have the same question that I would like to request our esteemed panelists to provide us with some insights in respect to the climate services, provision of climate services at the national level by each of the countries. And then what are some of the plans, action plans, particularly in order to address mitigation of or reducing the impacts of climate change? So you could be highlighting some of the policy aspects, some of the tools, some of the plans that are in place, and particularly the 2030 agenda is not very far away. So with respect to that also, some insights would be useful. So may I now request Mr. Nasim Muradi, the director from AMD, to kindly provide his inputs. I'd like to request you to keep your interventions rather short, given the time that we have. So around 4 to 5 minutes, please kindly provide your inputs at the maximum. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon, colleagues. In the name of Alam, first of all, congratulations SAMA Days for all members countries. I'm very glad to participate in this important meeting. I would like to give you a short information about the climate change and also about the responsibility of AMD departments. As you know, Afghanistan is a landlocked country which is recently hit by the natural disaster mainly caused by climate change, earthquake, flash flood, drought, and landslide, causing major losses of life and property. AMD department is only responsible for the provision of services for aviation. It is not responsible for the provision of services for aviation and also National Meteorological Services provider in the country with the responsibility of provision meteorological services for different related sectors, such as agriculture, energy, environment, climate, and water, focus on collecting and disseminating of meteorological data, public weather forecast, issuing early warning in accordance with national law and regulation, ECA 1 WMO international standards. AMD forecast division is providing short and medium range forecast daily weather and seasonal based on the models such as ASM ICAN. Also in AMD providing flash flood warning according FFJS for all 34 provinces of Afghanistan. For the climate risk reduction mitigation and accurate weather and climate prediction, Afghanistan department need support for the following most important section: improve and enhancing of observation network, access to high resolution forecast model and meteorological radar, capacity building of observation staff and instrument, technical forecaster, research, ICT and GIS. I am thankful for support of the SAMA, WMO, RIMES and other donors country. They are close and work with AMD to mitigate the climate impact. Please come together, cooperate with other. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muradi, for highlighting the work that AMD is doing, and particularly in the context of, we all realize the recent floods that affected Afghanistan. And it was actually, thank you for sharing some of the images as well as the information in the SAMA platform, through which many of us were aware of the devastation that took place. So just a follow-up question, was this forecasted by AMD, this particular floods?
Yeah, before that, 24 hours before our forecast, at the forecast, we sent to our forecast to the ANMO departments. After that, the ANMO announced to the peoples. Actually, in Afghanistan, we have a lot of problem, especially in internet and TV, because the people, they are not access to the TV. It is more important. They are not received the on time. It is difficult because some people, they are not access to the internet. It is more difficult for us.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that is a very important aspect, particularly when we talk about early warning systems and getting that information to the users. I think the user interface was also presented earlier. So how to get the information in a timely manner, but communicate them to the users is very important. And I think a lot of effort still needs to be made by many of us, to many of the countries, to ensure that this reaches to the most vulnerable. But this is something that we could further also, work on and share with the SAMA family. So thank you very much. I will go to the next presentation. So may I now request Mr. Singh Dorji, Chief Weather and Climate Services.
Before that, Bangladesh, I think.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, I'm moving ahead here. Thank you very much. Let me now call upon Mr. MD Azizur Rahman, Director from the Bangladesh Meteorological Department, for his intervention in terms of the climate services and action plans, particularly with respect to mitigating the impacts of climate change. So, Mr. Azizur Rahman, may I please request you to please provide your insights in the next 5 minutes? Thank you.
Thank you. Respected Professor Dr. Ojit Tayaji, President of SAMA, Dr. Someshwar Das, Secretary of SAMA, Honorable Chief Guest Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Guest of Honor Dr. Rupakumar Kohli, respected all panel members, and respected Dr. Mandira Seshta of ICIMOR. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon and warm greeting to all. I am really happy to be here at the panel discussion of the 5th Foundation Day celebration of the South Asian Meteorological Association, SAMA. climate service and action plan for mitigation impacts of climate change. Bangladesh has already started many activities and action plans. For time constraint, I hereby would like to mention 6 national adaptation goals according to the National Action Plan, NAP, that are running to mitigate probable impacts due to climate change in Bangladesh. The goals are: first, ensure protection against climate change vulnerability and induced natural disasters. Second, develop climate resilient agriculture for food, nutrition, and livelihood security. Third, develop climate smart cities of improved urban environment and well-being. Fourth, promote nature-based solution for the conservation of forestry, biodiversity, and well-being of the communities. Fifth, impact good governance through the irrigation of adaptation into the planning process. And finally, the ensure transformative capacity building innovation for climate change adaptation, that is CCF. I would like to mention here, if required, I will provide the written documents on the climate service and action plan for mitigating the impacts of climate change in Bangladesh. Thank you so much, and thank you all.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Azizur Rahman, you kept it quite to the point and short, and also thank you for also, providing at a later date the written documents of what BMD is providing as part of the NAPS. So may I just ask you a follow-on question in terms of how some of these action plans and goals are aligned with the Global Framework for Climate Services. And we just heard about the Global Framework for Climate Services from earlier from Dr. Rupa Kumar Kohli. So would you like to say a few words on that?
Yes, Bangladesh is the high on the list of country most vulnerable to climate change in the ranking, in the 7th on the 2021 World Climate Risk Index. So climate change induced natural disasters in Bangladesh due to geographical locations and flat low-lying topography. We are facing a lot of cyclones every year, and also due to the high population density and poverty and resilience on the climate sensitive sectors for water and food security, particularly water resources and agriculture, fisheries and livestock, increase its vulnerability due to the climate changes. These are the main factors that affect the climate induced disasters in Bangladesh, and also our weather extreme weather events.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I presume that Bangladesh also has a national framework for climate services in that aspect. You have that? I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much. We will now move on to the next presentation. And now this next presentation is from Bhutan. May I request Dr. Singye Dorje. He's the Chief of Weather and Climate Services Division with NCHM, the National Center for Hydrology and Meteorology in Bhutan. So, Mr. Singye Dorje, the question is regarding, of course, what kind of climate services and action plans are in place in Bhutan for mitigating the impacts of climate change. And that's a very, very, big question, and a lot of inputs can come in, but could you please provide us some insights into it? So thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon to all distinguished guests. First of all, greetings from the National Center for Hydrology and Meteorology in Bhutan. On behalf of the director and all the staffs of NCHM, big congratulations to Sama, especially the founding members, Professor Taigi and Professor Someshwar Das, for the 5th Foundation Day and the 5 years of voluntary services. Directly going to the question of our moderator, as you would know, as a NMHS, we are primarily responsible for understanding the science behind climate change and then providing the information services for adaptation and building resilience to climate change. So NCHM is not directly dealing with the mitigation efforts towards climate change. So to start with, the major impacts of climate change to Bhutan are for the melting of glaciers and associated risks of GLOF. The significant glaciers in Bhutan also has a significant contribution to the rivers, and Bhutan's economy is driven by hydropower generation, and the current government also has a very large target for hydropower generation. So when it comes to climate change, one of the major impacts I think the government is worried about is how it will change, the future volume of the rivers, and whether the long-term hydropower projects that are planned can be sustained given the impacts of climate change. The other impacts of climate change are similar to what other countries in the region are facing, like the rise of extreme weather events, erratic rainfall, that is impacting many sectors, especially the agriculture. On the mitigation front, it can be considered as a mitigation. One of the glacial lakes, there is a current study ongoing trying to lower the glacial lake so that it will act as a mitigation effort, not just adapting to, when the GLOF flood event will happen. NMHS also is responsible, NCHM is also responsible for doing the climate projection reports, and for the CMIP-5 suite of models, we did a projection report in 2018. And for the CMIP-6, we could complete one report into 2024, that is this year. But because of the lack of expertise in the office, we still had to do and settle with statistical downscaling for the CMIP-6 model. And going forward, this is one of the desire that our office has to actually dynamically downscale the GCM models so that it will give more information and it can resolve given the terrain of the country. So, Dr. Mandira, thank you for this opportunity. It's a great pleasure for me to join on behalf of my director, and that's all I would like to add at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Singay. I think you've nicely covered in terms of the different sectors that are being impacted by climate change, particularly hydropower, and like you said, the melting of the snow and glaciers, and some of the efforts in terms of addressing this, and agriculture being also one of the important sectors that is being also affected. I'm glad to hear about the climate change projection reports. I did know that you did have the 2020 report, but I'm glad to hear that the 2024 report is also underway. And we take note of also your continued interest in the climate change projections, because I remember we had this training about 2 years ago with NCHM and other stakeholders. So I think this is something that probably we could follow up with. Yeah, so thank you very much. I will go to India now, and from India, may I request Dr. M. Mohapatra, Director General, IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, for his a short intervention. Particularly, again, my question still remains the same in terms of enlightening us with some of the climate services activities at IMD and some of the action plans, particularly looking at the impacts of climate change. So may I request Dr. Mohapatra to please kindly, I do not see him yet.
Yeah, he is busy with the MHA. Some meeting on the Kerala heavy rainfall is going on.
Okay.
So he said that if the meeting is over, he'll join. So let's pass on as of now. If he joins afterwards, we can take him. So we can move to the next country.
So thank you very much, Dr. Tyagi, for that information. We do realize those heavy rainfall there in Kerala. It's been now quite some time now, quite a few days. Now, may I now request from Maldives, do we have Dr. Abdullah Wahid? He was not there earlier, but do we have him now online?
I don't think so.
General? Not yet.
Only-
Okay, so let me then go to Myanmar. Yeah.
Yes.
So from Myanmar, Dr. Kwa Mo U, Director General of the Department of Meteorology and Hydrology. May I request Dr. Mo to kindly provide us with some insights on the climate services provision at DMH, as well as some of the action plans that you have, particularly looking at minimizing the impacts of climate change. Both.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to sincerely thank to SAMA for participating in this 5th Foundation Day of the SAMA meeting. Everybody knows global climate change is dramatically, and like many other Asian countries, Myanmar has also faced climate change and relevant disaster. In the last summer, maximum day temperature is 48.2 degrees Celsius was recorded in Chao Township. In Central Myanmar, and night temperature also increased to 30 degrees Celsius in San Township in Central area. In the recent year, the onset of the southward monsoon were late and withdrawal were early. And as a result, monsoon periods were shorter than normal. Moreover, the rain distribution were dramatically changes and extreme heavy rain with short duration and consequent of a fresh were observed in the whole country in every year since 2015. Additionally, as you all are aware, Myanmar has about of the 2,300 kilometer long coastal, and apart from the Tenanai and the coastal area of the prone of the cyclone and associated storm wind, heavy rain, and storm surge. Cyclones are more intense and more frequent in the recent year due to the climate change effect. Therefore, to find out better solution in reasonably needed to the management of the climate change effect in Myanmar. Our Department of Meteorology and Hydrology has submitted to 8 initial national communication report and Myanmar National Adaptation Program or Action on Climate Change, NAPA. Depending on the approach hazard, DMH provided hazard warning for entirely rainfall, tropical cyclone, storm surge, temperature extreme, flood, and tsunami. I hope we all realize the importance of the modernization of the focus and monitoring, early warning for the reduction of the impact of disaster and climate change. At present, the Department of Meteorology and Hydrology with our government initiative is trying to enhance it all over capacity by introducing objective technique in weather forecasting and climate monitoring to enhance early warning system to minimize loss of life and damage to property due to the natural hazards. I do trust that all SAMA member countries will actively contribute and aware knowledge climate change and share experience and come up with better solution for the management of the climate change. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mo for your insights, for providing us some insights into the work that DMH is doing, and also in terms of the increase in the cyclone activities in Myanmar. So, and also, yes, this year it has been very, very warm, heat waves all over South Asia and many other regions. And I guess I hear that Myanmar was not an exception with, you said, temperatures over 45 degrees in many places. Yeah,
Yes.
so along with the extremes, both we now have to look at both the heat waves as well as excess rainfall in terms of too much rainfall. And like you said, yes, the short duration, high intensity rainfalls are on the rise. So did you have any specific events already this year in 2024?
Yes, 2024 is the species of the heat wave, and another one of the flood occurred in non-MAB flood occurred in our country. Previous time, and a flood is the 3 or 4 townships. Now it may be more flooded. Last week it may be 25 townships is flooded in our country.
So you did also
This is the effect of the climate change.
Okay, so you also talked about the importance of modernization of forecasts and warnings. So how do you feel DMH is doing in that front?
Yes, this is very important for the National and Hydro Service. You know, we may need to be the needed to the early warning for all.
Okay, yeah. So thank you. So you're also part of the Early Warning for All initiative that is now, basically quite a priority for not only WMO, but all the different other organizations that are leading that, the other 3 pillars. So thank you very much, Dr. Mo, for your inputs as well as your insights. Thank you so much. So now I'll go to the next country, Nepal. So from Nepal, we have Dr. Jagdishwar Karmacharya. He is the Director General of the Department of Hydrology and Meteorology. And I understand he is using his phone to come online. So are you there, Dr. Jagdishwarji?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mandira. I hope you can hear me.
Oh, yes. You not only can hear you, we can look, we can also see you very nicely. So
okay, yeah, I use my mobile so that I can be seen. Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. And I also like to take this opportunity to congratulate Sama and all of us actually, in fact, on its 5th Foundation Day. Now, quickly going to the common question we are having. So regarding the climate services DS has it's providing, I think many of us are familiar, but just to reiterate, we are doing trying to expand our real-time monitoring system. So we have currently 175 hydrological stations, 332 meteorological real-time stations, as well as historic stations. So data we provide, our information are also available in our website. And of course, we are doing 3-day weather forecast as well as flood forecasting, and we are trying to improve our early warning system. And as we can see that common to many countries in Nepal also, these extreme events are increasing. And then just a couple of weeks back, we had record-breaking rainfall, 24-hour rainfall in the western part of southwestern part of Nepal, and where we have recently upgraded our station. So that also highlights the need of expanding our station network as well in the region where we have scarcity of these stations. Also, we are doing this climate monitoring and also seasonal climate outlook forum preparation of that in collaboration with SASCO, as well as now we are also member of Third Pole that was launched just this year. So we are also doing glacier monitoring, and glacier we have done glacier lake reduction of 2 glacier lakes so far. and establish early warning system for glacier lake, potential glacier lake outbursts. And periodically, we are issuing observed climate trend and projections. And the last one we have done that in collaboration with ECMOD, and we thank ECMOD for that support as well. And then we are trying to, that was done a couple of years back, and now we are trying to update the climate projection as it is DSM has been mandated to generate this climate projection every 5 years. So now coming to our future plans. Of course, we would very much are working, trying to have our national framework for climate services developed and implemented, but so far we haven't been able to do so. However, though we are trying to achieve that, but without that, we are also trying to enhance our early warning for all initiative. We are also part of the initiative, so we are trying to enhance that, try to implement CAP and provide quantitative forecast, and also planning to provide sectoral forecast. And our expansion of real-time observation network is our continuous work, though we have established 3 weather radars in recent years and lightning detection network. Some of the modern technology, we are having difficulty to keep those up and running. And then, so we are also looking forward for regional collaboration in exchanging real-time data and product development as well as capacity building. And I think BCWC is BIMSTEC Center for Weather and Climate also has been useful for us, and some activities going on that direction, as well as I think a regional center RCC is also becoming more active, and these are enabling us to strengthen our capacity. But in hydromet sector, we still lack policy, and our formulation of hydromet policy is at also in the final stage. And we are also working on a hydromet master plan. And we are trying to lower with this access to Green Climate Fund. We are trying to lower lake of potential dangerous glacier lakes, and in collaboration as ECMOD as a regional partner, and in collaboration with WMO and Bangladesh, we are trying to submit final proposal for the hydro SOS as well. So these are some of the, I think, activities we are trying to initiate in coming days. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Karmacharya, for this nice overview, right, from the expansion of the real-time meteorological, stations, as well as, yes, the extreme events, also highlighting the extreme events. It would be also worth, I think, discussing in the SAMA platform about this heavy rainfall and some of the aspects that we see in the region. Particularly, I think I'm glad to hear about your future plans regarding the National Framework for Climate Services and its implementation, and also the various work that is ongoing along with the regional platform. I'm glad that ECMOD is a part of the Hydro SOS as a regional coordination body. So thank you again for that support, and we're really glad that we could also join this endeavor with the WMO. So thank you very much. And I'll come back with some questions. There'll be a question and answer round, so we'll come back with further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam, you're on mute, I believe.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pan. So let me now go to Pakistan. You can hear me, right? Okay. So may I request Dr. Arif Gohir, Director, Global Climate Change Impact Studies Center, to kindly provide us some insights regarding the climate services in Pakistan, as well as some of the action plan for minimizing the adverse impacts of climate change, both in terms of adaptation and mitigation. That would be quite useful. So Dr. Gore, may I request you to please come online and provide us with your insights. You can turn on your camera.
Thank you, Dr. Mandiraji. Am I audible and visible?
Very nicely audible, and also your yellow shirt is shining.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, President Saab, Secretary Mandiraji, Advisory Panel, esteemed colleagues and distinguished delegates. Good afternoon from a rainy Islamabad. First of all, I am thankful to the organizers of the event for providing me the opportunity to speak on this August forum. I heartfully congratulate South Asian Meteorological Association on its 5th Foundation Day. This milestone is a testament to a collective commitment to advancing meteorological science and fostering regional collaboration in South Asia. Though I have joined SAMA most recently, but I have been able to know that during last 5 years, the association has made significant strides in enhancing understanding of weather and climate patterns. Given the vulnerabilities of this region to the vagaries of climate change, the work of this association is not just important, rather indispensable. Now I come to the topic of climate services and action plan for mitigating the impacts of climate change in Pakistan. You all know that Pakistan is among the countries most vulnerable to climate change. We face severe weather events, including devastating floods, prolonged droughts, and extreme temperatures. Even at the present phase, we are passing through the severity of floods. These events have dire consequences for our different sectors like agriculture, water, health, and overall economy. To effectively tackle these challenges, we are leveraging climatic services and implementing a robust action plan tailored to our unique context. Climate services in Pakistan are crucial for supporting climate resilience and sustainable development across the country. These services involve the generation, provision, and application of climatic data, information, and knowledge to assist decision makers in managing climate risks and opportunities. Pakistan Meteorological Department is mandated to provide weather forecasts, seasonal climate outlooks, and early warning systems for extreme weather events. Over time, with the strengthening of weather at seasonal forecast capabilities and by improving the accessibility and usability of climate information, these services are helping communities and sectors to better prepare for and adapt to the impacts of climate variations. For the climate change studies, Global Change Impact Studies Center is mandated for national level research and development effort, capacity building and policy analysis, and information dissemination to the policymakers and planners and devise adaptation and mitigation strategies. Given the context of the crucial role of climatic services across sectors, the services are delivered to agriculture to help farmers optimize their planting and harvesting timelines, improving the crop yields, and implementing the climate smart practices to ensure food security. In water sector, climate services guide efficient water management, helping us anticipate and manage floods, droughts, and water shortages, as well as alerting us about the extreme events for timely evacuations, strengthen infrastructures, and minimize damages so that an event like 2022 flood can be effectively managed. Similarly, for health sector, better preparedness is the key in the backdrop of the health risk associated with these sectors. To mitigate the impacts of climate change, Pakistan is following a two-pronged strategy, both adaptation and mitigation. Pakistan's National Adaptation Plan is a strategic framework which is designed to enhance the country's resilience to the impacts of climate change. It aims at integrating climatic adaptation into national and sectoral development policies, ensuring that all key sectors such as agriculture, water resources, health, and infrastructure are equipped to handle climate-related disasters. The NAP document outlines specific goals, like including improving the climatic data collection and analysis, development of the climate change scenarios, fostering community-based adaptation initiatives, and promoting sustainable land and water management practices. By prioritizing these actions, the plan seeks to protect vulnerable populations, especially in the high mountain areas and at the sea level, to support their economic stability and promote their sustainable development too. Additionally, the NAP emphasizes the importance of international cooperation as well to effectively implement these adaptation measures, thereby strengthening countries' overall adaptive capacity in the face of changing climate. So in the end, I will say that this climate challenge is a global challenge. It's a regional challenge. Its adversity is on the rise. We need to work collectively for the better understanding of science and providing better climatic services to our communities. With this, thanks to Dr. Mandira.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Gowar, for ending in a very positive note in terms of calling for collectively working on understanding the science and promoting cooperation across borders. You see, weather and climate we talk about, which goes beyond borders. So thank you very much. I do take note of the challenges that you talk about in terms of the accessibility as well as the usability of the products that we generate and how to make sure that we get that to the end users. So we'll come back to that, but thank you very much. So I'll now go back to India now. Yeah, apparently Dr. M. Mohapatra, the Director General of IMD, he has been called for a urgent meeting to discuss the Kerala floods. So on his behalf and on behalf of IMD, we have Dr. D.S. Pai from IMD, and he is one of the very important persons in IMD for taking the SASCOF forward earlier. I did have an opportunity to, interact with him several times. So now may I request Dr. D.S. Pai to please kindly provide some insights. What we are talking right now is more about the climate services in the region, and in particular now in the case of India, and some of the action plans in terms of addressing the impacts of climate change, adapting and mitigating. And you can also share your experiences of the SASCOF. So over to you, Dr. Pai, please.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you, Professor Mandira, for I just entered into this program, so sorry. And on behalf of my DGM, Dr. Mohapatra, first of all, let me wish all the best to SAMA for completing 5 years. So this is a 5th foundation day of SAMA. Now coming to the climate change and climate services in India. So as you know that our country is a very big, with you have got all kind of geography, starting from a large coastal area and hilly regions, plain, drought, you have got semi-arid regions, and also because of the, we are getting both monsoon, both southwest monsoon as well as northeast monsoon. you have got all kind of extreme weather events occurring one or other part of the country throughout the year. Just she was talking about the Kerala floods and the landslide, which we are going through now, just few days, 2 or 3 days back only. Now we are also had last 2 days over our northernmost part of the country, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, similar situation. So we are actually a country which is facing with all kind of hazards, climate and weather hazards related to climate change. And as in any other part of the globe, we are also experiencing significant increase in the frequency and intensity of the extreme events like heavy rainfall, heat waves, as well as floods, intense cyclones, etc. Now, as a country, you will see that in our action plan, climate action plan, there are several action has been taken on mitigation as well as adaptation to this impact of climate change. However, I will concentrate my talk on mainly, or my description mainly on the adaptation strategies based on our early warning system for weather and climate extremes. We have got the climate services designated office in the IMD, which is situated in Pune, as all of you know that. And IMD Pune is also the regional climate center for the South Asia, and also global producing center for long range forecasting system. We are also having the organization which started around 150 years back. We are almost celebrating 150 years this year. We have got large weather and climate data, and therefore, as a part of climate services, we have got archiving large amount of weather and climate data, and based on that, we have been producing a lot of climate normals and specialized climate data like gridded rainfall data, temperature data, and other parameter. And this data has been used. Several thousands of paper have come out of this paper. Based on this data, and we also have prepared for the supporting, as she was talking about the SASCOF activity. We have prepared rainfall and temperature gridded data for the South Asia also. This SASCOF activity we had started in, that in 2011, and the basic idea was to generate climate outlook for, initially it was mainly for southwest monsoon season, because most parts of our region, we receive rainfall, almost 70 to 90% of the rainfall is received during the southwest monsoon season. Particularly India, particularly southwest monsoon is more important, whereas the northeast monsoon is important for southern countries like Maldives, Sri Lanka, and southern part of India, Myanmar, etc. So the basic idea initially was to generate climate outlook for southwest monsoon season, and also to support the countries in producing seasonal forecast for their own country. And so from beginning, we had some workshops were conducted. So you will be, I'm happy to inform you that when we started SASCOF, many of the countries from the regions were not, not having capacity to prepare seasonal forecast, and countries who were being issuing were basically based on statistical models. So slowly, after this workshop conducting after 2 or 3 years, we could develop capacity in almost all the countries. And at present, you will see that almost all the 9 countries from the South Asia is now capable of generating the seasonal forecast based on multimodal ensemble forecasting system. So where they have got access to almost 12 global models from various countries, and these data are readily made available to them. And also with the help of RHYMES, IMD has developed a tool for preparing multimodal ensemble forecast using this model output, and also gridded data at 1 by 1 degree over the South Asia for rainfall and temperature has been made available to prepare this forecast. So as of now, all the countries are working together, and the consensus forecast is being generated based on objective multimodal ensemble forecasting system. So from a system, when we started SASCOP, we were giving just a large areas of below normal, above normal, etc. Now we have 1 by 1 grid point probability forecast also has been generated. And in addition to that, this forecast based on this outlook, we are also generating, all the countries are also generating advisories for various applications like water, water user sectors for like water, health, agriculture, etc. As a country in India, we have got a very specialized climate services application developed for water sector, agriculture sector, and health sector. And we are regularly generating advisories based on not only seasonal forecast, we are also generating based on extended range forecast. And all this information are also shared with our South Asian countries. And in future, we are looking to develop more, to work on other season and also for other parameters. Like already we are working on temperature forecast, and we would like to work for heat waves, extreme, rainy days during the season, etc. So the future will be to work on that. Our climate services for South Asia, mainly we will work on that, and also to develop applications for all the climate sensitive sectors. That's all. So once again, I congratulate SAMA for completing successful 5 years and supporting various climate services and weather services activities for the region. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Pai. Despite the fact that you joined us just a few minutes ago, you've said it all, I think, very nicely, all the way from talking about the floods to the diversity that India has as a big country and the services that you are providing, and also for highlighting some of the work of SASCOF and then the kind of the regional way of getting together and coming up with a consensus statement and outlook statement for the whole of South Asia, and then the specialized services for what you are focusing on water and as well as agriculture and health. Yeah, so that's the experience would be very useful for all of us in South Asia in terms of further expanding and working collectively together on climate services. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. May I now go to Sri Lanka? May I request Mr. Attila Karunayake, Director General from Sri Lanka Meteorological Department.
On his behalf, Ms. Anusha Surya.
Yes, okay, very good. Thank you. That's excellent. Okay, so may I request Ms. Anusha to please kindly provide us with some insights regarding the climate services in Sri Lanka and some of your action plans regarding the adaptation and as well as mitigation to impacts of climate change, and some of the challenges, maybe opportunities as well, quickly in 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I apologize for our DG, and as he has to participate in other international meetings in Japan now. So I will elaborate our activities on behalf of him. First, I would like to extend our sincere thanks for the SAMA and congratulate for 5th Foundation Day. We also proud to be a member of SAMA. Thanks for Professor Tyagi, Professor Das, and Dr. Mahan and other members for their tireless effort. Sri Lanka is actually a small tropical island surrounded by vast oceanic area. I think except avalanches and other all weather and climate related hazards are possible in Sri Lanka. Especially enhancing the frequency of extreme events such as very heavy rainfall in a very short period of time, that high intensity rainfall is visible, and also the flood and drought also clearly visible in Sri Lanka now. A very recent example on 2nd June, on the onset of southwest monsoon in this year, we received more than 100 millimeter rainfall within 2 hours. So it very devastating for the southwestern part of Sri Lanka, and also there's very huge impact for our economy as well. So with that, climate services is becoming vital with that emerging climate change impacts. Because of that existing statistical relationships within the climate and climate data, and also the traditional knowledge also not longer valid with that emerging that change in the climate. So that there is a high demand towards the Department of Meteorology products, warnings and seasonal forecast, also that even that our farmer community also, they are very interesting about the scientific information is because of that emerging climate change. So actually we are providing the past data and present and future with an climate forecast and information for the Sri Lanka, especially for the main stakeholders, water, irrigation, agriculture, health, marine, power, and disaster management likewise. And also we have a international collaboration with WMO, IMD, RIMES, UNESCO, WFP, FAO, and UNDP. And also we are always being enlightened from the IMD and SESCO. I should especially thankful for the SAMA efforts to enhance our that capacity. Actually, after the SESCO, we conduct the monsoon forums twice a year and issue the monthly and sub-seasonal forecast. And especially that with that very recent, I think from the 2021, we have requested to we have been requested to participate in National Agromet Advisory Committee for there is a discussion in each and every month before preparing that Agromet Advisory. We are the one of the key member of that committee. And also there is another committee formulate in very recent years with the energy sector and water and irrigation sector. They also need our forecast. So this is the monthly meeting. So we have to participate. And there is another one is there is a very significant green climate funding project in Sri Lanka, called the Climate Resilient Integrated Water Management Project. Actually this project is mainly focused on our dry zone, especially because the dry zone is very vulnerable for the drought and also the mostly floods also. So this project mainly focus on the 3 components in enhancing the water management and the livelihood, and other one is the climate smart agriculture. So DOM is very that we are playing the very key role in that project, and we are also very happy because that mostly that farmers are not that how they use the information and the interpretation of the information, I think, and we also we are able to get in that information, that feedback from this very important project for the Sri Lanka. And actually we in that project we developed some user interface, WebGIS interface for the getting their climate information very easily and quickly. And also we are the part of the some project and the joint project India and Sri Lanka, that climate last mile climate services project. And also the is also very important because the drought, this is also focused on mainly dry zone. So actually this we are that very key stakeholders in the project. In the case of the climate, mitigating the climate change impacts, actually we believe that awareness raising is the one of key benefit if we aware the people, especially younger generation. We focus on the school children. We conducted the school awareness raising programs for climate change impacts for the school teachers. So they can convey the message to the children. So I think this is very important and there is a high demand for that program as well. And also we conduct the awareness raising. We generally conduct the doctors, government officials, local authorities about the emerging climate change impact. And also we are in the process of preparation of the future climate projections according to the CIMIP models output. And also we provide climate data for vulnerability assessment in the several sectors. And also the Sri Lanka already prepared the national adaptation plan for improving the resilience of climate change impact. And there is one World Bank loan project going on in DOM, the modernization of the DOM. I think with that we will be able to provide more user base, user friendly climate and weather information. Thank you very much.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Dr. Anusha, for your nice presentation. You've covered quite a lot of details in terms of what is going on at your organization and how you are addressing some of the demands that are coming from different organizations. One quick question for you. What do you consider as the last mile? You said there is a project that you're doing on last mile climate service project. So who's the last mile for you?
Especially we focus on the agriculture community, that the farmers are most farmers are the last mile at the end of the, especially that agromet advisory and daily forecast and monthly forecast. Actually they are not having much knowledge about the uncertainty of the forecast and also the interpretation of the forecast, because our forecast is a little bit in the scientific base. So we have to provide that base for them to get the maximum use of that our information.
Thank you. I think this seems to be a common thread that is emerging in many of the presentations. But thank you all to all the panelists for your excellent inputs. I would like to now open the floor for a few minutes for some questions. I'm sure there may be so many questions that you all have after this nice, insightful presentations that we've had from all the 6 countries that has been providing their inputs, actually 7. So let me open the floor for some questions. You can turn on your video and your mic and ask a question if there is any urgent question.
Yeah, thank you, Mandireji. I have a request from SAMA. We need capacity building for technician how to install the AWAS station and also synoptic station. We have a lot of problem for this. And also we need seasonal forecast modeling for our departments. It is possible to assess this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Muradi, Mr. Muradi, for your, I guess, the demands in terms of capacity building. I think our SAMA colleagues have well noted the demands for seasonal forecast, numerical weather predictions, and others that you have mentioned. But are there any other further questions or comments that anyone would like to make from the floor? Thank you, Madam.
Can I ask a question? I am Abhay from Sri Lanka.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
actually now when you speak about this critical weather, there were a number of occasions where a lot of people were killed by lightning. So actually all our countries, right, we have to take this as a serious matter, and we have to especially make the public, especially the farmers, are aware about lightning strike when you are outside or in open areas. Therefore, I request all the members of SAMA to make the public them aware about lightning before starting the bad weather season, especially southwest monsoon season. So there's a kind request from all the SAMA members and all the meteorology institutes in our area. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Vesinga. You raise a very, very important question. That was actually in my mind also to, bring that out in terms of lightning, because when we are looking at some of the statistics now in terms of people being killed, lightning stands to be either 1 or 2,
Yeah.
Quite a large number in Nepal, for instance, large number of people have been killed by lightning in the recent few years. So yes, thank you very much. And I'm sure that has also been noted. And also we Sama also had some events that was discussing lightning earlier. So maybe we could also see what that was and then try to, take that further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. So do we have another from the floor who would like to ask question or any suggestions?
Okay.
No?
May I respond? May I respond to the two panelists from Afghanistan and also Mr. Avesinga? First of all, to Mr. Nasim Muradi, he requested for some support from SAMA regarding establishment of some synoptic stations, etc., and also for seasonal forecasting. Well, Mr. Muradi, and capacity building, of course. Mr. Muradi, SAMA has been conducting lecture series on different topics of very, very important importance, like satellite meteorology and now the radar meteorology, earlier atmospheric physics, etc. So already SAMA is trying to help all the member countries as well as the member countries outside South Asia for capacity building. But regarding the installation of synoptic stations, I think that is beyond the purview of SAMA. Probably IMD might have, even for seasonal forecasting. As you know, the SASCOF is the main forum for that, and SASCOF has been bringing all the countries together, South Asia, for the seasonal forecasting. Regarding that, you should better raise the point at the SASCOF. I think Dr. Pai might respond about that. SASCOF, you have already mentioned about the SASCOF. Regarding the lightning issue which Mr. Avesinga has raised, well, this is a global issue, and now it is recognized that lightning is one of the biggest killer and also one of the major disastrous event, the weather and climate. But also, we all recognize that it is very challenging to forecast the lightning precisely, but at the same time, using the numerical weather prediction models and lightning forecast modules, we are trying to give warnings for the lightning. Like now, we try to give warnings for the lightning potential index and lightning threats every 3 hourly. If you look at the forecasts given by NCMRWF as well as the IMD, on its website, IITM also, every 3 hourly they display the lightning forecast for the lightning threats as well as lightning potential index. So from there one can get some guidelines that what is the likelihood of the lightning in an area. Okay, so but then it's definitely very challenging because lightning is a very small scale phenomena, and to give its warning correctly is very, very challenging. But nevertheless, we are trying to do it using the NWP model so that guidelines can be used by all the countries which are there in our domain.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Somesh, for your response to the two interventions that we've received. Now I will go ahead and just make a short summary of what we just heard, if you will allow me.
Before that, may I thank to Dr. Das. I will thank Dr. Das for his comment about lightning. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let me just proceed with just a quick summary of what we just heard. I do not intend to make a summary of all the 8 presentations that we've heard, but I think it has been a very, very insightful session in terms of hearing from all the countries regarding the climate services work that is going on, as well as some of the action plans that are there for mitigating and as well as addressing adaptation for climate change. I think I, as you all know, work for ICIMOD, and I'm delighted that we could be also part of the SAMA family and look at ways of collaborating, like you heard from earlier from Dr. Someshwar, regarding efforts, ongoing efforts of how with various regional organizations, and ICIMOD being one of the intergovernmental regional organizations, we are also trying to explore ways of looking at how best we could contribute as well as collaborate with the national hydromet agencies, definitely, but also using the platform of SAMA as well as the regional platform that ICIMOD provides. I'm glad that there was a mention of the Third Pole Climate Forum, which has been recently organized. Dr. Kohli mentioned that, and also we heard from Nepal. Dr. Jagdishwar also talked about the National Climate Forum that has just been launched. There was this meeting just recently held in China, which launched the forum. And this is for the Third Pole region, so it extends quite a large region and is primarily for areas that are above 2,000 meters. And IMD, as well as PMD and CMA, the China Meteorological Administration, are part of this. And ICIMOD is part of this as a technical partner along with some other organizations. So we're glad that this is there specific to look at some of the high mountain issues, looking at cryosphere. We talk about climate change, and so melting of the snow and glaciers is one of the very important aspects in terms of how climate change manifests itself. So this is an area that further definitely needs attention. But apart from that, just going back to the presentations that we heard today, definitely I think one of the things that maybe we could also like to follow up with the countries is about looking at how we can also integrate or link with the social science and the humanity. So I think this was mentioned by Dr. Tyagi in his, initial, message that he was giving, to see how that we can promote, science beyond just the hydromet family, but also looking at other organizations. I think this was also a message, in fact, which was made by the chief guest, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, who did make a mention of how, since weather and climate, we're talking about all the different boundaries, beyond boundaries, and then also to link with these aspects of the social science and humanity is very important. So I just wanted to also sound that back again, because this is something that we need to look at and also take note of. The other thing is that throughout the presentations also, I was hearing also the need for capacity building, by various other countries. We all are at different levels of in terms of knowledge, in terms of capacity. I think so SAMA could have that opportunity to continue with the capacity building efforts, which has been done quite substantially over the last couple years, having these series of lectures on radar meteorology as well as satellite meteorology and other different areas. So again, a face-to-face is something that we are looking forward to designing and then coming up with in 2025 or hopefully earlier. And then the other very much important aspects that was also highlighted was, the whole, I guess, mandate of the hydromet agencies, basically to have that responsibility of understanding the climate science, but also the provision of the services for the different areas. And one of the aspects is like also looking at the future. So the future climate projections also seem to have emerged as areas that the hydromet agencies are focusing on, where there's room for a lot of sharing as well as working on in terms of further looking at how that could be best developed for each of the countries and as for the region as well. And modernization of forecast and warning services was also sounded by the panelists as an area where we need to also look at in terms of the provision of climate services. There was a mention about the hydromet policy and the formulation of that. So it would be also quite interesting to look across the countries to see where we are at with the formulation of these policies and which countries are already having this, because Nepal is just now in the process of getting the hydromet policy approved. Yeah, so it's been formulated, but it needs approval. And then the various projects that are ongoing. So, so there are a lot of insights that has been shared already. So I just would like to end by this note, saying that definitely, while working on weather and climate and on climate services, particular, the whole realm of, the generation, and the provision in terms of analysis, packaging, and then getting it down to the users for decision making is important. And then, so we need to involve all the different stakeholders and best co-design these services so that it is owned by and also used by the users for whom we design these services. So there needs to be this collective effort from all the different stakeholders and particularly the hydromet agencies, and to also look at ways to then foster regional cooperation. And the need for data and information across borders is essential, particularly when you're looking at weather and climate for timely warning and provision of early warning systems. So this is also an area that we could further strengthen and continue to work on in terms of really making a robust and reliable climate services at the national level, but also more at the regional level to benefit the whole region at large. So I'll end at that. And I will hand it over to the moderator, Mr. Mohandas, and thank you again for all of your wonderful presentations. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
As we are almost ended of our program, thank you, Dr. Mondira Shrestha Madam, and our distinguished panelists for the enriching discussion. So today's discussion have highlighted the critical role of climate services in mitigating the impacts of climate change. We must continue our collaborative efforts to develop and implement effective strategies across the South Asia. I thank all the speakers, panelists, and participants for the valuable contribution. Now over to Rohini, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mohan. Finally, I invite Dr. Madan Sigdel, an ECT member and associate professor at CDHMPU Nepal, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you for this opportunity. Dr. Mohan, can you share the screen?
Yeah, just a minute. The PowerPoint is cut down. Just a minute. Okay, just 1 minute, please. Some technical issues.
Yeah, Mr. Mohandas and other colleagues. Sorry, I have one short comments.
Yeah, Muradi, please, quickly.
Yeah, for the training, actually, we have some problem, internet connection problem in our department. Sometimes electricity, we don't have 24-hour electricity, we have not access to this point. It is possible to invite physically our staffs in some countries. It is better they receive capacity building. And we have other challenges. We are lack of some ESPR part in our departments to know the climate change effect to Afghanistan. because we don't have access to the maximum temperature barometer. We needed more this equipments. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Madanji, what to you? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mohan. Esteemed President, Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, Executive Council members, distinguished guests, and esteemed colleagues. On behalf of the South Asian Meteorological Association, it is my privilege to extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has contributed to making our 5th Foundation Day celebration a grand success. First and foremost, I would like to thank our chief guest, Padma Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director of the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Chancellor of Delhi School of Advanced Studies, and former Secretary of the Ministry of Earth Science, Government of India. Your enlightening location on current meteorological challenges and advancement has been incredibly insightful and has set a high tone for our event. A special thanks to our guest of honor, Dr. Rupa Kumar, former president of the Indian Meteorological Society and former chief of the World Climate Application and Service Division of WMO. Our keynote address, your keynote address on development of a regional framework for climate services for South Asia was truly compelling and provided valuable perspectives. We are deeply grateful to our distinguished panelists for the panel discussion on climate services and action plan for mitigation impacts of climate change. Your expertise and insight have enriched our understanding of the collaborative efforts needed across the region. Thank you. Thank you all to Mr. Nasim Muradi from Afghanistan Meteorological Department, Azur Rahman from Bangladesh Meteorological Department, Dr. Singhi Dorji from Yansi Yachem, Bhutan, Dr. Yaspai from the Indian Meteorological Department, Dr. Kya Moyo from the Department of Meteorology and Hydrology, Myanmar, Dr. Jagdishwar Karmacharya from the Department of Hydrology and Meteorology, Nepal, Dr. Arif Goher, a director from the Climate Change Impact Studies, Pakistan, Mrs. Anusa Varanasuriya from the Sri Lankan Meteorological Department. One more slide. Yeah, I would also like to express our appreciation to AVM Professor Ajit Tyagi, President of SAMA, for his inspiring welcome address, and to Professor Someshwar Das, our Secretary, for the comprehensive overview talks about SAMA activities. Heartfelt thank to you, our moderators, Dr. Mohan Kumar Das, Dr. Rohini Power, for seamlessly guiding us throughout the day program. Your professional and dedication ensured a smooth flow of this event. Special thanks to Dr. Mandira Shrestha for moderating the panel discussion and delivering the concluding remarks. Dr. Fatima for her introduction, our keynote speaker, Dr. Pulumi Chakravarti for introducing our chief guest. Your contribution has been invaluable to the success of this event. Congratulations to the recipient of the SAMA Student Champion Award 2024. Your exceptional contribution to meteorological research have been rightfully recognized today. Our gratitude extends to all the ECT members of SAMA. Your unwavering commitment and efforts have been pivotal in driving our mission forward. Last but not least, a big thank to our advisor, EC members, organizing team for their hard work and dedication. This event would not have been possible without your tireless efforts behind the scene. To all our distinguished guests, speaker, and participants, thank you for taking the time to join us today and for your valuable contributions. Your presence and engagement have made this celebration a memorable one. We look forward to your continued support and collaboration in the years ahead as we strive to advance meteorological research and collaborations in South Asia. Wishing you all pleasant evening and safe travel back to home. Stay safe and stay connected. Thank you. Stay safe and stay connected. With warm regards. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Madan Sigdel also.
Thank you, Madan Sigdel, for your nice vote of thanks, and thank you all. This will conclude the today's sessions. So, and 5th Foundation Day celebration. We wish you all a pleasant evening and look forward to seeing you at our future events. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you and good evening from Sri Lanka, Colombo.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste, Mohanty sir, Madan Shrestha sir, and Shivananda Pai sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all Sama team members. It has been a wonderful event today, and I think it will go a long way in setting the course for next 1 year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Yeah.
Bye.
So live streaming is stopping, and
recording also.
I would like to request host to. I'm the host now, so I can end the meeting. Right. Thank you, Rohini.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, Mandira ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dr. Mohan, you are the host. You can start recording and
Thank you. Thank you, Samishji. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Namaskar.
you. Thank you,
Right.
Manjira, for
Yeah,
concluding
thank you.
remarks.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Tyagi.
Yeah, we have to take it forward, the suggestion of Dr. Rup Kumar Kohli about developing some regional framework.
Yes, I
So-
was also taking note
So
of that.
one small step we should initiate at least in that direction.
Yes, very good. Thank you. We will discuss further. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
I would like to hear a few words from Professor Chalisa sir. You're mute.
Yeah, Suresh
You're mute.
Salisha. Could you please unmute,
You're
sir?
mute. Please
Sir,
unmute.
unmute. Sir, you need to unmute,
Yes,
sir.
please unmute. Your mic is mute, sir. Sir, please unmute.
My voice is not coming. Okay, so,
Yeah, now
so
we can hear
sorry.
you. Now we can hear
Thank you, Dr. Tyagi, Dr. Sandris, and Mandira, all of you,
Thank you
and
so
all
much.
the participants, and brilliant get together, anniversary, celebration, whatever you say. It was wonderful. And Sama has matured now to, take new territories. So I'm very, very happy, and it has become already a regional sort of interlocutor, just providing dialogue between various agencies. I'm so proud of achievement of Sama. Of course, this is basically few people there who have worked very hard, and also now ICIMOD has become a very good partner and collaboration in this effort. I'm so happy that every institution are cooperating and participating so well. Thank you for all the work that was done and so brilliantly done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, good evening.
Bye-bye. Good to hear you.
It is a
Bye-bye.
sort of, for me, it is a dream come true.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
Dr. Salisha is being behind this all the.
Pleased to see you in the meeting.
My
Thank you so
mentor,
much.
my guardian, everything. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, sir.